So I've started the recording. So Wafel Vandu, you've already, like done Wafel before, but you've done it in Rhino, like I think one of the groups worked on Wafel, but now we'll look at scripting it. But before going to that, let me, like quickly just put your names down for attendance, or I can just take a photo. Okay, I'll just take a photo. Give me a second. Okay, all right. So we are gonna, start over here. So we are gonna make waffles, but at least the people who had worked on who were in the waffle group, I think Rasika, Rubina, you people, you might have, say done the Rhino model, and it might have been very hard to cut all those notches and stuff. So I'll talk to you about, like how we can script it down. So imagine, we have a surface. So I have a surface. Now I'm gonna rebuild this surface. So I rebuild it, and I'm just gonna make it a 3D surface. So yep, I think that should do the job. Now I'm gonna change back to shaded. So that's the surface. I'm gonna set this surface here. So now what we need to do is we need to get a rectangular curve to be like rectangular grid to be projected on this surface, which will become the waffle. So on the rectangular grid பண்றதுக்கு, what that rectangular grid should completely enclose this box. So what we are gonna do is we are gonna use a bounding box. So I'm doing a bounding box. So bounding box, நம்ம என்ன content கொடுத்தாலும் it will make a box out of it. So over here, the whole surface is encased. Ipo, we are going to use deconstruct brep to take this edge and the other edge and draw lines between them. So I'm going to do a deconstruct brep. So in deconstruct brep, I'm going to connect our box. So our box connect panna, we get all the edges. So list item கொடுத்துட்டு I'm just going to connect our edges. So now I can hide everything else. So edges பார்த்தா நம்ம கிட்ட ஒரு edge இருக்கு. If I just go plus second edge list item I can plus again and again. So நம்ம கிட்ட வந்து we've got this 4 curves. So first, second, third and fourth. In the 4 curveயும் what we are going to do is we are going to bring it out with curves. So I'm gonna kind of like give me a second, 1 second. Yeah, bro. Yes, it's Amudan, Amudhan. It should be in the Aadhaar. Nirmala, Nirmala Devi. Devi. Sure, bro. Is the procedure done? Oh, okay, you're getting okay, done, bro. Done, bro. The documents with not my sign in it, so I can use it. So there's okay, fine. I can Photoshop, bro. I can Photoshop, don't it? Okay, done. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Somehow they don't know that it's two separate documents, so it should be fine. Yeah, cool, bro. And they'll be opening the bank account in say 4 to 5 days. Okay, all right, bro. And I've actually okay, Ananagar. Okay, let me tell my mom so she keeps all the content ready. And bro, I've contacted Rakshna, so the funds should have been. It should be. You got the money? Okay, all right, bro. So we are putting 50. Okay, all right. Nice. So okay, mute it only, yeah. Okay, all okay, yep, fine. Yeah, back to here. So we have all the edges and we kind of like listed all the edges. Yes. Now, what we do is we use a curve component to kind of like get all these edges out. So this is the first edge, and now we need to take the opposite edge. So curve போட்டுட்டு I'm gonna make a copy paste. இதை வந்து I'm gonna plug it in inside to the next one. So this is an adjacent end. We don't want this one. So I'm connecting this. இப்போ பார்த்தா we have two opposite ends. So this is our first set. Similarly, I'll have a second set. So I'm just gonna plug these in. So either end you select panna, I get the two other opposite ends. Yes. So first set of opposite ends, second set of opposite ends. If I will just work with the first set of opposite ends now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna draw, divide it. So I'm dividing these curves. Control C, Control V, and I'm gonna divide this curves also. Then I'm gonna set a count. Say this count is gonna be the amount of lures that you're gonna be having in your design. So this is one of the main parameters that you'll be using. So either always keep it out. So this count will decide how many of those pieces are going to be there. So let's keep it at somewhere around 8 right now for better understanding. Aprama, if it's a complicated surface, you can have much more divisions. So idukku nadula I'm going to draw a line. So these are the starting points, these are the end points. Okay, but just that say in the starting point and the other starting point is kind of like colliding. So in the mari situation enna pannuvom, we use flip curve ena direction change pannom. So I'm using flip curve over here. So I'll just connect this to this curve and take it back here. So once I flip, it's straight. Yes. So now that this is done, we need the same procedure to be done for the bottom two curves. I'll just copy paste this procedure and delete these two curves and just plug these two curves in. So ipopata, we've got the we've got two grids. So let me quickly group this. So I'm gonna bring these two here, and this is a separate group. This is a separate group. So we've got two sets of lines, kilo one, mala one. So I can hide everything else apart from this and the surface. Okay. So I've got the grid. So ipo enna panna porom appadina, we are going to project this grid on top of the surface. So I'm going to use project. Yep, we can project and say what I can do is I can kind of like project these two lines on our surface. So we're going to connect the surface to B-rep. So once I project, if you see, you will kind of like get these curves on top of the surface. This will be extruded into our waffle. So after this is done, I can hide everything else. I've hidden everything else. Now, so we've got our, projected curves. Now what we need to do is we need to extrude, but remember that either fulla select panna, it's going to select everything. So instead we are going to do a copy paste of this and just connect these separately. So நம்மளுக்கு வந்து x axisல இருக்கிறது வந்து it is in one project, y axisல இருக்கிறது வந்து this is in another project. So we can handle it much easily. So now இப்போ வந்து we need to give it a height. So I'm going to give a extrude. So I'm just going to plug this separately. Control C, Control V. I'm going to plug this separately. Now I need to give it a direction. I'm going to give a Z direction. This is one, this is one. Yes, that works. Now we need to give it a thickness. So I'll give say 1 to 5. So this is gonna actually talk about not the thickness but the height. So this is one of our important parameters. So keep all your parameters up so you know which. So this kind of like controls the amount of divisions that you want, the amount of strips. So this kind of like controls the amount of strips that are getting involved in the surface. Yes, apart from which like again you don't have to necessarily have just one value which is connecting to both. You can have different x and y's, but here we'll keep it uniform and equal. So this controls the amount of counts. This is going to talk about the depth of the waffle. So this is going to relate to the depth of the waffle. So depth vandirchu. Now what we need is the notches. So I can just quickly group this together. So now what we need is the notch. So ஒண்ணுக்கும் ஒண்ணுக்கும் நடுவுல இருக்க notch. So and thickness on decide pannum, but say there are a few things that like have to be still taught to you people உங்களுக்கு teach பண்ணனும். Only after which like I can play around with certain parts, but இது வரைக்கும் உங்களுக்கு teach பண்ணதோட information வெச்சு பார்த்தா the thing is you can't really offset a surface with thickness in grasshopper. Offset surface கொடுக்கலாம். Say offset surface கொடுத்து what you can do is like you can give the surface then you can say either if I need to explain it to you, either we've done it once before, but just that I'll teach you once again. So if this is a surface that we need to make a offset as a solid, so I can set one surface, set this up, then you need to give a offset surface, and let's give a distance of say 4. 4 is a bit higher, let's keep it at 1. Yeah, now what you need to do is you need to deconstruct brep, deconstruct that, control C control V, deconstruct this, join the edges, control C control V, and loft them together. So in the curve view, if you loft it together, this will happen. Idukapprama finally you need to join, this is just the sides. So top and bottom வந்து join பண்ணனும். So you can join brep join. So this is the first one. Offset panna surface is the second one. Our standard surface is the third one. So now like if I kind of like bake this brep, it is a thick offset. Say no, again I don't, yeah, there you go. No, it hasn't really joined over here. So all these complications are there. இத வந்து ரைனோல சும்மா ஆஃப்செட் சர்ஃபேஸ் கொடுத்து சர்ஃபேஸ் செலக்ட் பண்ணி முடிச்சாவே வந்து சாலிட் ஆன் பண்ணி முடிச்சிடலாம். So we are gonna just avoid this whole process. So don't worry. So what we are gonna do is we are not gonna make an offset surface மட்டும் ரைனோல பண்ண போறோம். And again going to register, yeah, do it for now. Yeah, so notches மட்டும் deal பண்ணுவோம். So what happens is first of all நம்ம கிட்ட வந்து say there is a intersection, ஒரு surfaceம் இன்னொரு surfaceம், if I just put this on full screen, ஒரு surfaceக்கும் இன்னொரு surfaceக்கும் நடுவுல there is a intersection. So there is a intersection here, there is a intersection here, and the intersectionல தான் notch வரப்போகுது. So what we are going to do is we are going to find those intersections. So to find those intersections, we can go into intersect and physical brep intersection. Okay, so giving a brep intersection, this is a brep A, this is the brep B, but na idu rendiyum intersect pannana it might probably just give me one set of values. What I mean is ipo say so now that like if I hide these extrusions and if I go back here, if I hide almost everything, let's hide everything. So if I go back here and select my intersections, I'm just getting intersections at one place, but we kind of like need intersections all around. So why that happens is if we go and map our data tree, so this is a sharp data tree, control C control V, this is another sharp data tree. So what happens is ஒரு surfaceக்கும் இன்னொரு surfaceக்கும் நடுவுல there is just one intersection which is happening. Usually வந்து நம்ம say last time வந்து extrude all those curves to point அப்படின்னும் போது the output was cross reference. That was because one of the trees was a like flattened tree, one of the tree was a grafted tree, அதனால cross reference நடந்தது. இங்க it is patching up properly. but inga we need a cross reference, so we are going to do the inverse. So inga vande I'm going to make one of this flat. So either vande I can kind of like flatten it down. Either flatten pannona, so when it is a flattened tree and a grafted tree, you get a cross product. So we've got a cross product right here. So that is why we are going to graft one of those values to get all the cross product. So once you get the cross product, we've got these curves. So in the curves order, center point kandupidikka porom. So we are going to use center, or we can use point on curve. Point on curve. And what I'm going to do is use these curves to, like get all the midpoint. So we've got all the midpoints. Let's turn on our extruded surface. Let's turn it on. So there you go. So what we are going to do is we are going to make a box, and we are going to boolean the box with the upper and the lower one. So I'm going to do a polygon. Okay. So I'm gonna, set the, like these points as the center for making the polygon. Yeah. And now radius is gonna be, say, like 0.2. This is gonna be your, in the radius அப்படிங்கிறது தான் உங்களோட, the thickness of what? The thickness of your wooden board. So this is also one important parameter. Let's keep it up. But segments we need it as 4. So I'm gonna plug this as 4. Aha. You know what, probably we can use a circle instead. Like anyways, we are gonna, it doesn't matter since we are gonna offset the surface in I mean, like, it's gonna offset the surface in Rhino. So radius is gonna be the diameter, thickness. So and the thickness of the wood கேத்த மாதிரி, you're gonna be able to, increase the notch thickness. So this would be the radius. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna extrude this. Extrude. So this, I'm gonna extrude this circle in Z direction. Yes. But what I'm gonna do is, say இப்ப நான் இந்த இடத்தை focus பண்ண அப்படின்னா, it is not really, like object. So instead, I need to give a value. So the value should be 1 right now. I'm going to give a, say, 5. So once I plug this in, it is overlapping. Yeah, we are good to go. First. Second, what we are going to do is, like extrude again, but in the lower direction. So I'm just going to make a copy paste of this, bring it here, plug this in. But second time, idhula enna panna porom appadina, we are going to give a negative. Same value, same number slider, but we are going to give a negative number slider. So it happens on the bottom. So one extrusion is happening on the top, one extrusion is happening on the bottom. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly just group all these together. So that's a group. Now this would all become a group. So we have two extrusions, one top extrusion, one bottom extrusion. இதுக்கப்புறமா trim பண்றது, again, like there is a different way to do it, advanced way to do it. I'll teach you the advanced way later on, but we'll kind of like pause it over here. So ipo we have everything. All that we have to do is bake it back in Rhino. So first one, we are going to bake our strips. So in extrusion அப்படின்ட்டு இருக்கும். So I'm going to right click and bake. I'm going to group it and bake. So ஒரு strip we baked it. Ipo next one, I'm gonna bake the next strip. I'm gonna group it again. So we've got the second strip. So I'm gonna bake the extrusion again as a group. So top extrusion nammalukku kedachiruchu. Now I'm gonna bake the bottom extrusion. There you go. So now I'm gonna just save document. Beautiful. So yeah, now what I can do is I can close my Rhino, open up my Grasshopper. So we've got four things. In an array, we have one direction strips. So we'll put it in a layer. Let's kind of like solve everything in layers so we just don't get confused. 1, 2, 3, 4. I've opened four layers. I'll put four colors: red, blue. So the first is going to be in one layer, change object layer. The second is going to be in another layer. Either bake பண்றதுக்கு முன்னாடியே கூட you could have created layers and baked it into that particular layer. So I'm going to change object layer for this one, and now I'm going to change object layer for the last one. Okay, so இப்போ என்ன பண்ண போறோம் அப்படின்னா we are going to hide say blue and orange. This makes sure that blue has a bottom notch. So இப்போ என்ன பண்ண போறோம் அப்படின்னா yeah, I think you would have guessed it, we are going to split. So I'm going to use split, and I'm going to split it with the pink circles. So once I split it across, okay, one thing also that we didn't do is we didn't cap these. So in the இடத்துல we didn't cap this. Unfortunately, I need to go back to the script again. Grasshopper. In the extrusion அப்படின்னு பண்ணோம்ல, we need to just cap. அப்பதான் it's going to be a complete beat up to use a trim. So I'm going to do a cap holes. Capping algorithm failed. Oh, I'm very sorry. It's this extrusion, circle load extrusion. Cap holes in the circle extrusion on I'm going to cap this one. I'm going to cap this one. And if it is a full solid, now I can bake. I'll bake this by layer 3 pink. I'll bake this by layer 4 orange. So now again, let me just save this file and close this off. So we've got completely closed solids now. Let me hide blue and orange. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the red, split using the pink. Now I can hide the pink layer. Red I can ungroup, and I can select all the notches and delete it. So I've deleted all the notches. So I've deleted all the notch gaps. So if we've got the notch. Next, blue. We can hide the red. We can turn on orange. So I'm going to select the blue and split it with respect to the cylinders. So once split, I can again hide the orange. I can ungroup. I can select these notches and delete them. Now we've got red waffles and the right ones. So that is a typical, section. So இப்போ we need to give a thickness. நம்ம grasshopperல thickness என்னன்னு decide பண்ணோம். See, since it is a radius is 0.2. So diameter is what we trimmed it with. So it is 0.4. So offset is going to be 0.4, double the radius. So we can select all of this. Offset surface, both the sides, yes. Distance is going to be 0.04. Was it 0.04 or 0.4? Okay, let me just give it 0.04 for now. Yeah, I think it was just 0.4. So I'm gonna make it solid, and I'm gonna make it both the sides, and I'm gonna make it 0.4. I'm gonna make it 0.2. I don't know how that works. Yeah, since we are doing both the sides, somehow it kind of like adds up. So what is happening is somehow we are, like uh, இந்த இடத்துல வந்து radius வந்து double பண்ணா diameter, which is the notch thickness. So in Rhino, since anyhow we are just offsetting at both the sides, like it doesn't really matter. It's gonna get doubled. So there you go. That's with respect to your waffle. So now if I kind of like, like take this first one and if I move it up, you'll see that like the notches kind of like fit perfectly. The one the I can show it to you in a, say, ghosted view, where see this is your typical notch, where the first piece, this is the second piece, and like you can probably move your first piece to understand how like that piece and this piece joins together. So like processes like these are very like fast, and repetitive tasks can be done proportionally with respect to the form in grasshopper. That is one of the advantages. So that's with your waffle structure. A very similar process will happen for your like a very very similar process will happen for waffle, but with solids. This is surface waffle. We again have solid waffles. We'll cover solid waffles, but like and the advanced process எல்லாம் teach பண்ணிட்டு இந்த whole process எப்படி உங்களுக்கு grasshopperலயே full பண்றதுனோ I'll teach you eventually, probably on the by the 6th class. So அப்போ I'll also teach you solid waffle. So solid waffle க்கும் surface waffle க்கு என்னன்னா, this you're using a surface. See, if I kind of like have some, if I go here and see, probably will try furniture. We full furniture. I'll just put waffle for solids. So Ipo, we just did it for surface, but if you kind of like check this image out over here, this is done for an entire 3D solid. So we'll learn about making it for solids later on. Okay. So that is a small variation. There is not much of a change. It's almost the same process, but there is a very small variation. Ipo, I also want to, before we conclude the session, I also want to teach you about irregular waffles. So now I can go to grasshopper. So grasshopper open panna, we've got our yeah. So grasshopper open panna, like say we can visualize our extrusions. So rendio on panikra matelathiyum, I'll just turn it off for now. So we've got everything spaced equidistant. So what if we need to kind of like have a different pattern of waffle abdina? Remember we learnt about dispatch and like dispatch list. So ipo enna panna porom abdina, these are our curves. So let me hide our extrusions also. This is our curve. This is again our curve. So curves வந்து count வந்து increase பண்ணிப்போம். So let's go here. Let's increase the count. Let's make it 20. So இப்போ we've got a very dense network of curves. I've actually put it at 41. Now like now what I can do is, before I give this extrusion, inga dhaan we have all our curves. So what we can do is we can kind of like play with the pattern of dispatch. So I can do a dispatch, and dispatch la vande, this is the list. So if you read here, so I can make a panel, but panel la true false data kuduknom abdina, you need to work on the data. So right click panni multi-line data abdina you need to give it. Don't forget multi-line data கொடுத்துட்டு now you can give true false. Say I'll give true. Every after every first element ரெண்டு வந்து will give a spacing. So false, false. So this is the pattern. So either I can plug this inside. Data conversion failed from text to, okay, fuck it, like let's, for now, let's kind of like go here and set multiple booleans: true, false, false, false. So I've got two set of curves. So if I connect this, either select panna, or instead of dispatch, we'll do a cull pattern. So this is our list. So I need to flatten it into a full list first. Okay. Again, like ஒரு sample. இந்த இடத்துல வந்து, say, let me unflatten it. Another example, இப்போ நான் list கொடுத்திருக்கேன், I have a pattern. So I'll set a pattern. I'll put a false, true, true. So false, true, true meaning every first curve will get deleted, second and third will get retained. So commit changes கொடுத்துட்டு இதை select பண்ணா, I am not even able to see. It is not working. Why is it? Is because again, if you go into this data tree, it is a huge data tree. அப்படின்னா என்ன அப்படின்னா, this is a list with multiple sublists. So this is a sub, this is a sub, this is a sub. There are multiple, a list is broken down into multiple lists. So it doesn't know how to evaluate a group of lists. So we need to flatten the data. So if you flatten panta, everything is a single list. And now if you kind of like see here, come back and see here, you can see the cull pattern. So this is in a pattern. Every first curve got deleted. I can do the same for the second also over here. So I'm just gonna give this, and idhula cull pattern, I'll set a pattern of false, false, true. So we are just gonna get a different pattern. Again, I need to flatten this data to like make it work. And there you go. So I can hide this curve. So we have a very irregular, like thing happening over here. You can play around with your pattern. Say, like I can actually go set booleans of true, true. I put three trues, so I'll have three lines. So I can have the first one kind of like has 3 lines. The second one has, like just 2 lines. So if I go back and if I kind of like turn back my extrusion, and like this is gonna happen for the curves and the curves, I need to set the new set of curves. So if I connect this together, this is a irregular waffle structure. So it's the waffle kind of like has a nice pattern to it. Okay, so yep, there you go. This is with respect to today's class. Like go back, sit on it, and like get this done. We'll start our next session in half an hour. So see, 1 hour. We'll start it at 3:30. So 3:30 to 4, we'll have one more session. So today was half a day. We'll compensate the remaining half tomorrow, and we'll have tomorrow also as half a day. This morning, 2 morning sessions, so it becomes one full day, and then we'll keep adding on to the classes. So yep, that's waffle structure. I'll upload the video, check the video out, and like work accordingly. All right, I'm closing the meeting. If you have any doubts, get back to me.